Hello, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at Sir Alex Ferguson's 1999 Manchester United treble winners in Tactics Explained. Make sure, of course, to subscribe if you're new, like that goddamn video and turn that notification bell on. Anyway, let's get this party started. In his 26 years at Manchester United, Sir Alex Ferguson won 38 trophies, including 13 Premier Leagues, 2 Champions Leagues and 5 FA Cups. He didn't just build one great squad, but 3 unbelievable teams. His Cantona led title winners of 1993 and his 07-08 double winners both dominated world football, but arguably his best squad, and at least in terms of achievements, was his 1999 side. They were the first side to win the Premier League in 3 consecutive seasons, a feat only replicated by Ferguson since. But what they were most known for was being the only English team ever to win the continental treble, the Premier League, FA Cup and Champions League in the same season. But how did they set up? Like many teams in the 90s, Fergie set up his United team in a 4-4-2, but there was a subtle but significant difference to a standard setup. The most notable difference was Ferguson's use of 2 strikers. They arguably operated more like a 4-4-1-1, with one of the forwards dropping off the line, normally Yorke, whilst the other held the line, often Andy Cole. Out of possession, United's shape defaulted to a 4-4-2. The shape would have very little space between the midfield and defensive lines. They'd press in a man-orientated system, with 2 players leading the press while the safety players would move to their nearest opponent. United were aggressive all over the pitch, always looking for those opportunities to regain possession. But when the ball was in the midfield third, their midfield would adapt to a diamond, often with one of the central midfielders moving into number 10, whilst the other central midfielder would drop and the wingers would tuck inside. If the opposition broke their shape, United's defence would often react. Statman jumping out of the back line to win the ball, whilst the fullbacks narrowed, looking a little bit like a 3-1. The wingers would also be key to this, dropping back to cover the wide areas or the midfield runners. In attack, United's shape would transition to either 3-4-3 or a 3-3-4, depending on the flank they were attacking down, but more on that later on. They create chances through wing play, but also looking to get the ball into the striker's feet as quickly and often as possible. They'd either do this by going direct to one of the strikers or aerially to one of them and then winning that second ball. From here, they'd look to play 1-2s or interplay to get shots away. Alternatively, they'd go wide and put crosses into the box, either through their wingers or fullbacks. But let's talk about personnel, starting with the goalkeeper. Peter Schmeichel was a world-class shot stopper that had an incredible command of his area. Before signing for United, Schmeichel played handball, where he developed the star jump technique that he'd pull off many times in the 1v1 situations. However, he was also key to starting Manchester United attacks. The Great Dane had a monster of a kick, and he'd often drop the ball into the final third, from dead balls or drop kicks, where United would look to win the ball either through the first or second situation. Their setup on goal kicks was more of a 4-2-4, where the wingers were pushed into more advanced areas to react quicker to the knockdowns. Alternatively, Schmeichel would distribute quickly and start counterattacks with enormous throws, often tossing the ball to one of his strikers on the halfway line before they could counter. Another difference from modern day sides is from the goalkeeper. Ferguson's United would distribute the ball to fullbacks rather than to the centre-backs to open up the ball into the channel, which was frequently hit by Gary Neville and Dennis Irwin. The fullbacks were not only key in starting attacks, but their positioning affected the attacking shape and was so important in retaining the balance. If United were attacking down the left, their shape would transition to a 3-3-1-3, with Irwin holding his position in a support role, whilst the left winger, often Giggs, would look to stay high and wide, providing width and penetration through dribbling. Being the Premier League's first inverted fullback, the right-footed Dennis Irwin was excellent at recycling the ball through central midfield, which allowed United to quickly switch to the other wing, a key feature of all Ferguson's sides. However, Gary Neville's positioning was a lot more orthodox for a Premier League fullback. United's shape when attacking down the right highlighted this. Their shape would transition to a 3-4-3, and Neville would always be available on the overlap. Neville's stamina would allow him to get up and down the right for 90 minutes and would create space for David Beckham to drift inside and deliver his trademark whip passes. Whilst the fullbacks directly affected the attacking shape, the centre-backs would create the platform for United to go and attack with freedom. One of United's best ever pairings at centre-back was Statman and Ronnie Johnson. They'd form a classic cover-stopper relationship, with Jan being the aggressor and Johnson on the cover. Stam was the perfect stopper. He was tactically intelligent, which meant he wouldn't go careering after the ball, but instead would identify the danger and move to deal with it, whereas Johnson would always provide that support and look to clean up after Stam or intercept. Stam's defensive intelligence was perfectly highlighted against Juventus in Turin, where in the first half he had to follow the runs of Inzaghi into the channel. In the second half, Ancelotti changed, moving Zidane out wide, so Stam identified the new danger, looking to deal with Zinedine Zidane's crosses or passes from out wide, or when he came inside, rush out and meet him, where he won 2 crucial tackles against the Frenchman in the second half. The towering defender was a fantastic addition from PSV Eindhoven and completed Ferguson's defence. Moving on to midfield, the key players in Ferguson's system were the wingers. Whilst they were incredibly gifted, they reached the top of European football through sheer determination and hard work. Giggs was a direct winger on the left flank. He looked to beat his man using pace and trickery before delivering the ball into the box, whereas Beckham was a wide playmaker. We've already done a video on what is a wide playmaker. The link will be in the description and above, so go and check that out. But in this role, Beckham will look to pick up little pocket of space and then look to pick his teammates out with passes from wide areas. Beckham was the side's playmaker, dictating the flow of the game from that right wing, often dropping deep to get on the ball before hitting those long flat passes to one of the front 3, Giggs, Yorke and Cole. Not only did Beckham start attacks, but frequently played the final pass or cross that resulted in a goal. Take his performance against Inter Milan in the quarter-final first leg, 2 quality assists. The first more of a pass than a cross, perfectly weighted for Yorke to apply the finish. The second, a first-time cross whipped from the right-hand side onto Yorke's head. Beckham was also a renowned set-piece taker. He scored more direct free kicks than any player in Premier League history. He was also lethal, providing from dead ball situations. But in the 1999 season, Beckham registered 8 assists in the Champions League, with only 1 coming from set pieces. However, he took both of the corners in the final that won it for United and dropped the ball on Keane's head in Turin. Off the ball, the 2 players operated differently as well. Giggs would make vertical runs from out to in, sometimes even making runs over to the right-hand side, whilst Beckham would drift inside, sometimes operating in the number 10 area when the ball was on that left wing. The interesting part of United's attacks is the fullbacks perfectly complemented the wingers. Beckham's relationship with Neville was perfect. This was due to Beckham's roaming, allowed space for Neville to either overlap or underlap into the space that Beckham had vacated, often looking to then cross from the byline. Whereas on the left, Irwin supported Giggs in a more reserved role and will look to deliver from a slightly deeper area. This balance out wide gave United 4 different crossing options on a regular basis, making it so difficult to deal with them. Beckham's trademark whip crosses, Neville crossing on the overlap, Irwin from deep and Giggs creating a little yard in the final third, then delivering the ball. On to central midfield, the engine room of Ferguson's teams. The starting pair was Roy Keane and Paul Scholes, an enforcer paired with a deep line playmaker. Ferguson would rotate Scholes out of the team for Butt or even move Ronnie Johnson into midfield in the tougher away games, especially in Europe, to play 2 ball-winning midfielders. This gave United the extra bite and stability in the centre of the park. Fundamental to United's 4-4-2 was their ability to win second balls. United in '99 were a fairly direct side, looking to get the ball into the strikers as much as possible. So having a midfield that could recover loose balls after the initial long punt was vitally important. Tactically, Manchester United would look to press their opponents on the second ball in that diamond shape. The near side central midfielder moving to the tip to either win the ball directly or instantly apply the pressure with the forwards and a wide player. Roy Keane was the master of this, often winning the ball back and starting counter-attacks. Not only did Keane set the standards with the ball winning, but also on the ball, never hiding away, always playing that difficult pass into one of the striker's feet or switching the play out to David Beckham. Keane's battle with Edgar Davids in the semi-final against Juventus was a battle between the 2 best tackling midfielders in world football. Not only did Keane win that battle by putting a number of crunches on his Dutch opposition, but he won the tie, scoring a captain's goal for Manchester United to start the 3-2 comeback in Turin. If Keane was the aggressor, Scholes provided the finesse of the pair. His close control, passing ability and late runs into the box to finish moves were second to none. In 1999, Scholes scored more goals than any other Manchester United player apart from strikers Yorke, Cole and Solskjaer. He also ended as the joint top scorer in the Champions League, including a vital goal versus Inter Milan which killed the game with a classic late run into the box. In terms of striker setup at the time, Dwight Yorke was the best second striker in world football. He blended a relentless work rate with a desire to always get on the ball, then looked to combine with Andy Cole. The pair combined directly for 5 goals in United's run to win their second European Cup, including an almost telepathic link-up for the goal versus Barcelona. But Yorke was the main man. He was directly involved in 59% of United's 29 goals in Europe that season. He managed an incredible 8 goals and 9 assists. Cole was more of the poacher of the pair, stretching the play by running the channels and looking to get in behind before scoring. However, his finishing was sometimes inconsistent, and he could have arguably scored more than his 187 Premier League goals in his career. In the 1998-99 campaign, Yorke and Cole scored 53 of Manchester United's 126 goals in all competitions. But if either of the pair weren't firing, Ferguson had a plethora of striking talent on the bench. Teddy Sheringham operated like a deep-lying forward, creating rather than scoring himself, but Solskjaer was Ferguson's super sub, a hungry option off the bench who could chase a lost cause. Solskjaer averaged a goal every 71 minutes in the Premier League in '99. He made just 9 starts in the Premier League and just 17 in all competitions, but scored 12 goals in the Premier League and 18 in all comps, an incredible record for an incredible striker. Although Sheringham didn't have a good season in terms of stats, 5 goals in 26 games with the majority coming off the bench, he made an impact when it mattered in the final of the European Cup. A goal down against Bayern Munich with Scholes and Keane missing through suspension. Ferguson had to go to his bench, but he had a plan. Speaking recently, in the '99 final against Bayern, we did really well in terms of how Bayern operated, because they always took Ziegler and Beisler off when they were winning games. Then they'd have a tighter midfield, but it did allow me to play 3 up. Tactically, Bayern had started using a 5-4-1, using a sweeper and 2-man markers in a back 3. Until Sheringham's introduction, Cafour and Fink kept Andy Cole and Dwight Yorke very quiet, after the pair had torn Juve apart in Turin. The introduction of Teddy, though, changed things. United moved from the classic 4-4-2 to a wide 4-4-2 diamond, with Sheringham at the tip. This caused problems for Bayern, who were to pick up the number 10, one of the back 3 pulling them out of shape, or one of the defensive midfielders, who were too concerned with stopping David Beckham. United took control of the tie, creating 4 massive chances in open play, exploiting Bayern's shape. The pressure was building. With the 2 centre-forwards as well as a number 10 pressuring Bayern Munich's defence, they couldn't play out. On the 89th minute, United pounced, with Solskjaer forcing Link to play the ball out of play. A Gary Neville long throw, recovered by David Beckham. The pair then combined and forced the corner. United then stacked the box with 7 attackers, including Schmeichel. Beckham swung the ball in and it was cleared, but again, United won that second ball. Giggs fired towards goal and Sheringham turned it in. The second was another Beckham corner, a near post flick on by a substitute, Teddy Sheringham, to another substitute, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, at the back post. What was so special about Manchester United in 1999 wasn't just their quality on the pitch, but their adaptability and pragmatism of Sir Alex Ferguson, and arguably without his sheer will to win, United wouldn't have won their famous treble. But anyway guys, what do you think? Was this Fergie's greatest ever Manchester United team? I've been Statman Dave. Make sure of course to subscribe if you're new and like that goddamn video, and we'll see you later. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, why not check out some more content on the Statman Dave YouTube channel?